If the only thing standing between you and success is money, then you're not ready for success. Now, that's not me being harsh or that's not me being mean. That's me telling you the truth, because the people who win, the people who rise from nothing, they don't wait for money. They become the money. They become the value. That's exactly what you're going to learn how to do here today in this video. Now, this here isn't any theory. This is the same exact stuff that took me from sleeping on my friend's floor on a leaky air mattress that me and my pops used duct tape to cover up the holes, but we obviously didn't do a good enough job, because every single night I would wake up on the floor because all the air would leak out of the air mattress, and I didn't want to blow it back up because I didn't want to wake up my friend who was courteous enough to let me crash at his spot, because I wanted him to have a good night's rest, to making over 7 figures online in my business with just one digital product doing a little over 900K. So like I said, this here isn't any fluff. This here isn't any theory. This is fact, and it works if you work it. Here's the biggest lie in entrepreneurship. I don't have the money. I can't start because I don't have the money. No, you don't have the resourcefulness. And it's only gonna take me about 5 minutes to break this down. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, then you'll probably just keep on waiting and sitting on $1 million idea for years and stay poor. And poor, POOR, stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly instead of taking action now. And now, NOW, stands for no opportunities wasted. And here's the thing about opportunities. The opportunity of a lifetime only lasts for the lifetime of the opportunity. And opportunities, they don't just disappear, they go to somebody else. And that's why you see so many people running around here saying stuff like, oh, well, I had this idea, but now I can't do it because somebody else is doing it. Yeah, because they acted and they took action now. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, by all means, click off of this video and keep on wasting time. But look, I know what being broke is, and it hurts. And you know what hurts even more than that? I know what getting money and going broke feels like, because I've done that too, but that's a whole topic for a whole nother video. So look, here's the thing about money. You need to understand what money is before you can actually accumulate it, or before you can actually become it. So you have all these people running around here wanting to get more money, right? But if you ask any of them, none of them can define what money is. So first, you have to understand what is money. And all that money is simply value, right? So if we focus on creating value, then we can actually become the money, and we will attract the money, because like attracts like, and money attracts money. So you may have heard people say stuff like, oh, it takes money to make money. No, it takes value in order to make money, because that's all that money is. Money is simply just a symbol that value has been exchanged. And the only thing that anybody spends any of their money on is on something to whereas they perceive that they get more value back in exchange, right? Just think about anything that you spend money on. You only spend it on something to where you feel as if the value that you get in return is worth more than the money that you spent on it, or else you wouldn't spend your money at all, right? So you don't need any investors, you don't need any loans, you don't need any fancy degrees, you don't need any connections, you don't need any network. You need to focus and obsess on creating value and becoming a person of value and becoming the asset, so you can become that money, so you can attract that money. So how can you become the asset? And here's the thing about not having money. It's actually a superpower. Damon John has a book called The Power of Broke. If you're not familiar with who Damon John is, he's the guy that created FUBU, right? He's the black bald head dude that was on Shark Tank. And I love this concept of this book that he wrote, The Power of Broke, because it's like, being broke is a superpower, because you have to use your resourcefulness, and you can use your mind to outsmart, or you can outwit certain people that actually have money. Because I'm telling you, from certain mistakes that I've made in my past when I did have some money, it was because I was just throwing money at stuff versus using my actual resourcefulness. So that's how, like, kind of in the beginning of the video, I'm like, I have a story about getting some money and going broke, right? That's because I had lost my power of broke, and I had lost my resourcefulness that I had when I started off with nothing, that my money actually handicapped me, right? Because instead of using my creativity, instead of using my knowledge, instead of using my wit, I was just throwing money at stuff, and people were doing stuff for me that really, come to find out later, didn't know what they were doing. But the way that I got back out of my situation was that I tapped into that power of broke. I tapped into my resourcefulness. I tapped into my intellect. I tapped into my wit. But when you're broke, your mindset can either be your prison or your weapon. And if you harness it and use it correctly, it can be a dangerous and powerful weapon. But on the flip side, it can also be your prison, because most people can't get out of the shackles of their own mindset, that they stay in that whole, oh, woe is me, and feeling sorry for themselves, that they can't see the power that they possess. And those people think that money gives them power, but power comes before anything. It ain't money, power, respect, what you need in life. The power comes first. Like, your power comes before everything. You don't attract money by needing it. You attract it by being valuable without it. And this is just a rule to anything in life. Like, even just on some simple boy meets girl type stuff, right? If that woman feels like, yo, he need me, she's gonna be like, yo, why are you sweating me? Like, if you just going up to a chick and you like, excuse me, ma'am, may I just have a crumb of bouquet? She gonna be like, ew, right? But when she sees that you gonna be cool, like, even if you by yourself, and she sees that you're a person of value, she becomes attracted to you now. But let's be clear, nobody's coming to save you, but people will pay attention and people will pay when you become undeniable. So start building something that people can ignore, right? Start working on building up your skills, right? Content, proof. Obsess on coming up with solutions to other people's problems, and show them through your content that you have obsessed on coming up with a solution to their problem more than they have. Show them that you are a person of value, therefore they will spend their money with you. Build you, because when you become the leverage, money chases you, not the other way around. All right, so if I use myself as an example, I fired my job April 1st, 2016, before I had ever made $1 for myself as an entrepreneur, right? And the first business that I got started in was a small niche in real estate called wholesaling. So if you've ever heard any of those people talking about flipping houses with no cash or credit, or if you riding around the neighborhood, or you in the hood and you see those like "we buy houses" signs up on the corner, I used to do that stuff, right? So I became a person of value initially because I would meet somebody that had a house that they needed to sell, right? They may not have wanted to sell it, but they were in a position where they needed to sell this house, right? So I would basically play the middleman, and I would get a contract, right? I would get a contract to purchase the house. And then I would find an investor, house flipper, landlord, or whatever, that really had the money, and I would basically sell my contract to them for a fee. So I first got started as an entrepreneur without any money by becoming a person of value, by building a skill to where I could find these distressed properties, negotiate a contract to purchase, and then basically sell that contract to an end buyer for a fee. And typically my fees on these will be anywhere between like, say, $7,000 to maybe like $12,000 to $15,000. Sometimes I would get more, sometimes I would get less, right? But I became a person of value by building that skill of being able to find these distressed properties for these guys with the actual money. And it was a win-win-win situation for everybody. So instead of these people losing their house, they would get the money that they wanted. This person would get a hard asset and they would get the money that they wanted. And then I would get my money here in the middle by basically middlemaning the whole deal, right? But I became a person of value through a skill. I became the money, and I didn't need anything to get it done except for a sheet of paper. All right, so then from this, people started to ask me, yo, what is it that you're doing? So guess what I started to do? I started to do one-on-one calls. For what? I started to do one-on-one calls for money. I wasn't going out and chasing money. I became the money. I became the person of value, and people, they were asking me how to do something that I knew how to do. Then I would hop on the phone with them. I would charge them money to talk. And then I was like, man, I'm sitting here on the phone all day. Like, I don't like this, and I'm not getting a chance to work on my business because I'm on the phone all the time, right? But I started to see that I'm getting pretty much the same questions over and over and over and over and over again. So then I packaged up my IP, my intellectual property, and I created, let me turn this back black. I created a digital product, right? This digital product was basically just answering everything that I would cover all the time on these one-on-one calls. But from this level, I didn't need any money. From this level, I didn't have any money or need any money. And from this level, I didn't need any of my money. I became the money. I became the asset. I became the person of value. And then the money came to me. And then from there, I discovered how to take your intellectual property and monetize it through digital products. And I was like, oh, I can do this about anything that I know how to do. And since I really don't even like the business of real estate that I was in, I was like, oh, I can just think of anything, come up with a solution to a problem in the marketplace, and then I can sell my solution to people that are struggling with the same problems that I now know how to do. So since I know how to fire my job, I put together a plan to fire my job April 1st, 2016. Guess what I did? I created a digital product helping people to fire their job. I've created digital products about certain stuff that I know about in credit and business funding and how to grow an audience on social media, to how to create and scale digital products, to putting together a membership that helps entrepreneurs monetize their impact, income, and influence and grow businesses online from their already existing knowledge. There's credit at the top community. If you want to join, just click the link down in the description. It's only a few bucks a day to join. But it all started from a place of scarcity, because scarcity is a superpower. Like a huge superpower. And a lot of people do not realize that at all. Scarcity sharpens you and it forces creativity and it builds grit. It builds toughness. It builds that tough skin. It builds that what I call unfuckwitableness. Because I truly feel like I'm unfuckwittable because I've been through so much that when any little bit of adversity comes to me, I'm like, yo, I'm unfuckwittable. Because I've already been through so much that this little setback right here, I know it's not about to stop me. Like, I'm like, all right, little setback. I'm about to get through with you because my unfuckwitableness is at an all-time high right now. Like, I'm feeling myself. And I feel like that because I've had nothing. And here's the thing. When you have nothing to fall back on, you have no choice but to go forward. Think about this. Some of the most disruptive businesses in history were started with nothing but a laptop and Wi-Fi. No paid ads, no money, no investors, no fancy studio, and they won. Why? Because scarcity forced them to move fast, pivot, and think creatively. You don't need more comfort, you need more pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, and pressure busts pipes too. So what you gonna do? You gonna bust, you gonna break, or you gonna be something that's solid and strong that lasts forever? And you don't need less stress. You probably need more stress, because a lot of people, they don't realize that there's two types of stress. So we have distress, which is what most people typically associate stress with, right? But then we also have eustress. And eustress is a healthy type of stress. Eustress is that stress that helps us to get to the next level, right? But a lot of people, they don't know the difference between distress and eustress, and any sign of stress, they just all associate it with this, or they quit stuff, or they don't want to do stuff because it's stressful. Well, some of that stress is actually eustress. You can look it up. I ain't gonna go into a whole lesson on eustress right now, but some of that stress is actually needed for you to get to that level that you actually want to get to. So if you want money, start moving, because money follows movement. Too many people think, once I get money, then Nah, that ain't how the game works. You do the stuff now and then you get the money, because the B comes before the get. So most people have this backwards. They think that they'll get something that they desire and then become something different. But no, you have to become something different in the now in order to get whatever it is that you desire. So I'll give you an example. Some of the homies back home and some of the dudes off in the hood. I'm from a city in Kentucky called Lexington. For whatever the reason, it's always $10,000. That's the magical number of just, if they just had an extra $10,000, then they would start doing all this stuff and do their business endeavors, right? But I'm like, well, if you're not doing it now, once you come up on the extra $10,000, you would just do the same exact stuff that you're doing now, but you'll have $10,000. So most likely you would just squander that money also. So I know this one dude, he wants to start this restaurant, right? Well, I can't start my restaurant because I need this money. Well, there's another dude that I went to school with. He has a restaurant that's popping. It's called the Wing King. If anybody's ever in Lexington, Kentucky, check out the Wing King. And he spells it with the KY like Kentucky. So y'all giving them some plugs right here. Wing King, right? But I remember when the homie was chefing up the wings in his crib, and then he was hopping in his car and he was driving all around the city, dropping them wings off. And this was like before DoorDash and before Uber Eats. He was, you call his phone, you put in your order, he chef up the wings, he bring them to you. Now he got a popping restaurant, right? He didn't wait for the money and then start the restaurant. He started being resourceful, became somebody of value. Then the money came to him, and then he opened his restaurant. And the wings is fire, and whatever he be doing with them potatoes is fire. And guess what? It was fire when he was chefing up in his kitchen and driving all around the city, dropping off wings and potatoes to people. But the B comes before the get. So people that tell me stuff like, oh, I'll start to invest in my business. All I need is some money first. So I'm like, well, how do you think you're gonna get the money to invest into your business? You have to become it now in order to get what it is that you desire. You become the money, you become the value, and then you attract more money because like attracts like. These are basic universal laws. Like, do you know any negative people? Have you ever just noticed how negative people always hang around negative people and just chit and chatter and gossip about everybody? Because they are similar. Like attracts like. Ever notice how those negative people always seem to have something happen to them all the time? It's always something going on in their life, and they can't figure out why does this just keep on happening to me? Because that is who you are in the now. Like attracts like, but they think that they're going to get a different result by continuously being the same person versus having a transformation and becoming something else so they can get a different result. So that's the same thing in business. People, they'll tell me that they'll invest in getting a microphone or a camera or something like that. I'm like, well, you won't even pay the $2.99 right now to remove the watermark off of your videos. So why do you think you're gonna get more money and then you're gonna buy a camera or then you're gonna buy a microphone? That's not how the game works. The B comes before the get, and money follows momentum, not the other way around. So look, if you have 100 subscribers, right? Good. Talk to those 100 subscribers. Focus on the 100 that you do have. Don't focus on what it is that you don't have, because you don't need to have that many customers. You don't need to have that many of those subscribers turn into customers for you to have a successful online business. I highly suggest you read an article by a guy by the name of Kevin Kelly called 1,000 True Fans. It changed my whole life. Right, the whole basis of the article is that if you can get 1,000 true fans paying you $100 per year, you have your six-figure business, right? Your $100,000 per year business. But once you just understand the concept, you can move those numbers around to fit whatever it is that works for you. Because I caught a lot of inspiration from this guy up in Vancouver, Canada, whereas he had a small YouTube channel of only 5 or 6, maybe 7,000 subscribers. He had a $30,000 per month business from that small YouTube channel because he had 300 people paying him $100 per month. Right now, he has a multi-7-figure business, but he still has a small YouTube channel in the scheme of YouTube. He only has 20-something thousand subscribers. But he did that by focusing on who's actually there, not worrying about who's not there. And he built a micro niche personal brand, and he only focuses on coming up with solutions to a micro niche audience's problems. That's all you need to be successful out here. You build your micro niche personal brand and build your micro niche personal brand as becoming the authority about something, to whereas you can obsess on coming up with a solution to one avatar's problem. And your avatar, this is going to be your target customer, right? Not customers. So if I was in fitness, I wouldn't just help everybody get fit. I would help postpartum mothers get fit, right? I would help postpartum mothers lose the baby weight. And guess what? There's going to be a whole bunch of women that just got done having babies that want to lose the baby fat. Shout out to Kamora Lee Simmons, right? Me, I'm in the online business space, or which I hate, the make money online space, because there's so much BS in the make money online space, but I'm technically in that space, right? But as far as online business, there's all kinds of online businesses that you can do. There's drop shipping, there's SMMA, there's cryptocurrency, there's Amazon and the Amazon FBA. There's all types of stuff, the e-commerce. But I help people and entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs monetize their intellectual property through digital products, right? I could care less about getting in front of everybody. I want to get in front of you. And I'm not playing a views game. I don't want to get all the views. I want to get the right views. If I wanted to get all the views, and I'm pretty sure that I could, I don't think it would be hard. I would just have to make a bunch of easy side hustles and the lazy ways to make passive income. Like, I could get all the views if I wanted to, but I don't want all those views. I don't want that crap, and I don't want to attract those type of people. But if you've got 100 subscribers, if you have 10 subscribers, talk to them. Everybody starts from zero. About a year ago, my YouTube channel basically had no subscribers. I don't have the biggest channel right now, but guess what? It's bigger than it was. I built a successful business off the back of it, and a year from now, it's only gonna be bigger. Everybody starts at zero. Everybody. If you've got one client, over deliver. If you have zero cash, and this is something that I wish that I did starting off, so please listen to me. If you have zero cash, start documenting your journey. You have something right now, use it. And the reason why I say start documenting your journey is because you will start to build your audience through documenting your journey, even though you haven't figured stuff out yet. Because there's so many people that are at the same level or below you. So if you're just now starting, guess how many people haven't started? Because a lot of people, they think that they have to be some type of expert before they can start to document their journey, or before they can start to teach something, or before they can start to build their personal brand. Or like I said, you need to focus on building that micro niche personal brand, right? But if everything is from a level of 0 to 10, let's say 0, you know absolutely nothing, and 10 is like the expert of experts, right? Well, if you're at a 1, you can help people that are at a 0. If you're at a 3, you can help people that are at a 2 and a 1. When I first started, I wasn't at a 10, right? I might have been at like a 2, helping a bunch of 1s and 0s. And here's the thing about an expert also. People think that people teach because they're an expert, but that's not the case. It's the other way around. People become experts because they teach. So think about anybody who you consume any type of information from. Why do you perceive them to be the expert? Because they teach. Therefore, they become the perceived expert. So people don't teach because they're experts. People become experts because they teach. So if you do these 3 things, I promise you, you will start to become successful in your business. First, work in public. Second, teach everything you know. So you'll start to become that authority, and you'll start to become that expert. So teach everything you know. And 3, create every day. It's going to be very, very hard for you to lose if you work in public, teach everything that you know, and create every day. Put something into the world today that did not exist yesterday. And remember, the B comes before the get, so act like you're already funded. Speak like you're already in the room. Move like you are already the brand, because if you don't believe it, nobody else will. And it all comes down to a belief system, because look, you have accomplished what you have because you believe that you were supposed to accomplish it. All the stuff that you have not accomplished yet is because you simply don't believe that you are supposed to. That's the difference. And you gotta believe it. Like, I mean, like, you have to brainwash yourself for success, and you have to believe it to the point to whereas every time you go on YouTube, you believe that when you click on YouTube or you type in youtube.com, you have 100% conviction that YouTube's gonna pop up. People don't believe in themselves and their goals and their dreams and aspirations with that same belief and that same conviction. You gotta believe in yourself with as much belief as when you grab that remote to cut on the TV, you believe that TV's about to cut on, or you wouldn't even cut on the TV. And then people, they think that they're going to become the successful entrepreneur that they want to become, but they don't have that same belief in themselves. You gotta believe in you like you believe that your favorite TV show next episode is gonna be good. I'm gonna be like, man, people got more belief in a TV show than they do themselves. Because the TV show, it may start off slow, but they'll still stay watching it because somebody else told them it's good. Oh, just wait, it gets good. You gotta wait, it starts off slow. But then on their entrepreneurial journey, as soon as they hit a little bump in the road in the beginning, they just quit. I'm like, man, how you got more faith in Netflix than you do in yourself? But build what you can with what you have. You know what people respect more than a great idea? Execution, even if it's messy. Start small, start now, start broke, just start. You don't need a perfect pitch, you need proof. You don't need a massive following, you need results. Take what you have, your story, your skill, your hunger, and make it undeniable. Take these 3 of working in public, teaching everything that you know and create every day, and show people that you have obsessed with coming up to a solution to their problem more than they have. Package that solution into a digital product and become the money and become the value so you can then attract the money like all them that you see on the screen right now. And if you're ready to make more working less online from stuff that you already know, go ahead and click the link down in the description and join this Credit at the Top community for weekly coaching from myself, all my exclusive trainings, plus a private community of entrepreneurs, all designed to grow your business online. It's only a few bucks a day to join, literally less than a cup of coffee per day right now. So go ahead and click the link down in the description to tap in, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. But if you're watching this, you're already ahead because you're aware, but now it's time to act. Don't wait to have money to get started. Start becoming the type of person that money wants to follow. Be the energy, be the value, be the asset, because when you do that, money becomes a byproduct, not the barrier. So go ahead and click the link down in the description if you want to tap into the community, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. And go ahead and check out this video right here about how you can make a lot of money before you even launch a product. It's Credit at the Top.